Is Mufasa a storm god? Now this theory may sound a little strange, but stay with me while we decode what Disney may have suggested about one of their greatest films, The Lion King. Mufasa is the great king of Pride Rock, and rules over the animals of the Pride Lands as a benevolent ruler, only eating animals when necessary.
Dad, don't we eat the antelope?
That probably doesn't bother like the antelope or anything, right? Anyway, many people argue that after Scar took position as king of Pride Rock, a great drought occurred, causing the land to fall into famine and ruin, and there was nothing Scar could do about it. But was the drought more than just bad luck? Could there have been a greater power at work? Before Mufasa took the mantle of king, his father Ahadi ruled over the Pride Lands, and Mufasa and his brother Scar, or Taka, which is his true name, lived in relative prosperity. One day, a mandrill named Rafiki wandered into the Pride Lands, where he was attacked by the hyenas Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed. Ahadi and his sons intervene, saving Rafiki's life, and Ahadi berates the hyenas for disrespecting the rules of the kingdom, and then orders them away. There is a drought affecting the land at the time, and many animals of the Pride Lands are angry. They are especially worried about the hyena attacks that have become more frequent and deadly due to the general lack of food. Ahadi sends his mate Uru to find an alternative source of water and food, and promises to control the hyenas. Because of the drought, Ahadi doesn't spend enough time with his sons, and Taka becomes angry at his father, acting out of his own selfish desires, instead of understanding that a king has a duty to take care of his people. After Taka and Mufasa get into trouble, causing a wildebeest stampede, Taka is injured because of his selfishness and his reckless behavior, leaving behind his namesake Scar. Ahadi decides he needs help running the kingdom. He offers the position of Majordomo to Zazu the Hornbill, and asks Rafiki to be his personal advisor. They both accept, and the drought crisis is averted. After Mufasa's death, a massive drought has caused many of the animals to either die or leave the Pride Lands. Some people argue that Scar had no control over the weather, thus the collapse of the kingdom wasn't his fault, but a freak occurrence of nature. But what if the drought was brought on by a more celestial power? What if Mufasa could control the weather around the Pride, and cause the drought? It was the last slight on his brother to see if he could rise to the same challenge that their father had to deal with. He was not only punishing Scar for his betrayal, but he was also testing the new king to see if he had gained any wisdom from their father's decisions. Instead, Scar exiles Rafiki and imprisons Zazu. He doesn't care for his subjects and instead lets the hyenas run wild, wantonly killing any game they see fit, leaving an imbalance in the circle of life. Many animals are killed unjustly, and many others run away, leaving the Pride Lands without food or water. Scar seems to care very little for the safety and health of his people, instead indulging in the powers he stole. He has learned nothing from his father's wisdom and instead pursues selfishness. Scar's decisions brought about the destruction of the Pride Lands, where his father Ahadi kept peace long enough for the drought to come to an end. Mufasa may have even caused the drought to go on long enough to push Nala out to go beyond the Pride Lands, where she ultimately finds Simba again, to return him to his rightful place. Nala leaves the pack on her own to find food, and that's where she runs into Simba. Scar doesn't seem to care at all for the lives of others. After his death, the next time we see Mufasa, he takes the shape of a massive storm cloud high in the sky. He tells Simba it is his destiny to take up the mantle of king, and save the Pride Lands from despair. Mufasa could have chosen to speak through a tree or in the wind, but instead he takes the form of a giant gaseous body of water. Was that a conscious decision? I think so. When Simba returns to Pride Rock to challenge Scar, a bolt of lightning strikes and sets fire to the rock. A very well-timed natural occurrence, or was it the work of some supernatural force? The fire hindered Scar from running away, and instead, he is forced to confront Simba, frightening and distracting him from realizing the hyenas were close enough to hear him. Then, as soon as Scar is destroyed by the hyenas, the rain begins to pour once more onto the savannah. The hyenas never complain about being hungry until after Scar takes power. They only complain that they aren't more respected, but their inability to control their eating habits and their own gluttony drove them there in the first place. Mufasa bringing the drought would be poetic justice for his brother's betrayal, knowing Scar would never be able to keep the kingdom together under hardship. He brought the same strife that faced their father, and Scar crumbled under the pressure. Is Mufasa really a storm god? Well, there's enough evidence here, I think, to argue that it's possible. When Simba was a boy, while looking at the stars, Mufasa himself even tells Simba,
"Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars."
Maybe he already has some inkling of his place in the circle
So
of
whenever
life.
you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you. And so will I.
If you enjoyed this episode of Pizza Slice Pop Culture, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe for more videos from your favorite pop culture channel, Co-Optimistic.